Okay, welcome to you all and thanks for joining. So in today's video, we're going to start talking about Caspian. So what we're going to do is that use the documentation of Caspian in this case. So Caspian, and we're going to discuss and we're going to look what about the beta version in this case, beta version 0.1. Well, currently I get new computers, so I still getting some migrating my operating systems and things like that. So this video is going to be almost about the changes change log that happen in Caspian, in this case in Caspian environment. Okay, the first of all, now Caspian have total support for async await when it's component in this case, but it's not documented because I want to show you how it's going to work in this case. I'm not just going to send you components in this case. So the way we declare components is this way, but now you can put in the define, you can put await async, and then you can await in this case, because remember Caspian it's built top of fast API. So currently we are migrating everything to become async await. Okay, next, what we going to get is that the new version of Caspian, we're going to finish the starter kit of the dashboard in this case, which it's coming with notifications. So we're going to see that too, and all about. Next, in validation, we used to have issue when we was validating, in this case CUI version 1, and well, the version 2 is currently working, but now we have fixed the version 1 too. So we're going to see when we open our dashboard in this case. Okay, authentication have get improved, some issue that been found. So I'm going to show you now the authentication. It's going to be in one section, which is going to be managed all the authentication environment section, which now it's not going to be in the main.py. It's going to have its own file, in this case in the library, part of the core of Caspian. So those are the changes what come in this case in Caspian, and maybe some others. In this case, the RPC get improved because we find some small issues, so we get fixed all those things there. Okay, so first thing first, what we're going to do is that we're going to start, let's migrate, in this case, from previous version to current version, in this case, because when you are migrating from alpha version to beta, there is an issue which you need to fix, or you need to know how to fix in this case. First thing first, what you're going to do is that you're going to open your previous version, in this case in your Caspian project. So in package JSON, you're going to see that there is 3 seater in this case. This is the compiler of the components. But the issue is that when I install in this new computer, in this case, because this is a new computer what I just get in this case, let me see. Yes, properties, there we go. Yes, this is the new computer which I get just recently, maybe got about months ago, but I'm still migrating. So there you go. So this is the new computer. So when I install the node, in this case version 24, which is the latest, latest not the latest, but the long-term support version. So when I install this, I see that this package doesn't have support for this version, so I migrate to another package which I think it's called let's see when we install, so I forget the name. But we the issue is that when I migrate, I find that the components, in this case, the using of components, this section, it start it wasn't working as expected. So now what we're going to do in this version is migrate in this case, because as you can see, I'm going to open my Caspian config, and you're going to see that the version is latest, because this was the previous support version. So what I'm going to do is that you can do npx or cas in this case, because I installed the Caspian globally. So Caspian update project in this case, and when I start, it said yes, I'm going to proceed, and latest, yeah, download the latest version. So it's going to start download it, but asking me if I want to download the version 1.5, which I say yes. In this case, I'm agreeing. TypeScript, no, everything no, because I don't have any support of that. Okay, there we go. As you can see, there is a huge installation error in this case, and it's talking about that the non-module 3-seater doesn't have support for this node version 4, and all this error comes above, no, above the installation, following the installation. So what we need to do in this case, we're going to come in package.json, and I'm going to remove completely only these two package, in this case 3-seater and 3-seater Python, because those package which is responsible for converting components, no. So I'm going to remove, save this, and then I'm going to try to install or update the project again, following the same, in this case TypeScript no, MCP no, Prisma no. So now, as you can see, it's installing the package, and the package is updating everything how should expect to be working. So in this case, as you can see, automatically it's installed the package. In this case, let's see what package. Okay, here laser command. In this case, laser is the one which is going to which have the support for node 24. So from now going on, in Caspian, we're going to be using the laser compiler for Python components. So in this case, when we come to settings, and as you can see, the components map have update, because we migrate from 3-seater to laser Python in this case. So now the thing is, we need to test npm run dev. So let's run, and as you can see, everything is working as expected. So I'm just going to come and open, and there we go. I got the Caspian documentation website. So now I can document anything as how I was expecting, because I didn't want to show how this issue happened, because I never noticed that the 3-seater doesn't have support for Node version 24, because I used to work with Node version 22. but not version 24 until I get the new computer. I get that problem. Okay, next thing, in this case for authentication, you're going to see a file in src, in source library in this case, and the authentication in this case out directory and the out config file. So as you can see, the main file now it's not going to manage the authentication setup. This file it's the responsible now. So what you want to do is that anything need to do with, let's say, about authentication, you just come and you're going to modify this section, in this case this file, which is the responsible for, maybe if you want the token validation one, or the token auto refresh, so on and so on. So you already have. In previous version, we used to have this in that .env file in this case, but in this version we are not going to have in that .env, because I find out that when you are dealing with this, like say array and maybe things like that, when you have like say role based, so on, I see that in when you dealing with this kind of situation, having in that .env looks quite complicated to handling, and I don't want to, let's say, maybe because I'm thinking in long term support for the Caspian framework environment. So this is, I think this is the best way where you can handle, because you just have one file and which is Python, so you can import and do anything you like in this case. Okay, next thing, well, in this case, let's see if I find any components. Maybe this doesn't have any components because this is just the website documentation. See if I have any components over here. No components, but anyway, let's see. In this case I have command. So when you have, in this case, when you have a component, this case, let's say you are receiving maybe, or you are sending to the front end maybe some information which you need to await, so async await, because fast API, that's the idea. So you know you have the support to have async. As you can see, there is no error information, things like that. You just put async and you start await what you need to await, maybe database requests, or any kind of async await task which you're going to delegate in your component in this case, which make very useful for awaiting things and not having the main thread block in this case. So this way we have the freedom to choose when you want to use async await in a component level. Okay, next thing, so what we're going to do is that we're going to update this because I think I need to update the documentation, because this is the current documentation web page where I'm going to update, in this case, the components. That components now async await, so and so on, and so many small things which need to be improved. Okay, so let's jump into another topic section. So I'm going to save this. Let me see if I do anything. Okay. Yes, we install CUID package. Okay. Okay. Now we are good to go. Let me close. Okay, now let's save this. Okay, before save, because I need to update the dashboard too, so I'm going to run npm dev in this case, because this already have the updated version in this case, where the package already been replaced by the laser command. But it doesn't have the current version, which is 1.5. So as you can see, if I come to Caspian, it have the 0.38. Okay, anyway, so we're going to open this version, and let's go to dashboard. In this case, as you can see, we have this login in this case. So it was this and 1 2 3. Oh my god. 1 3. Okay, there we go. So as you can see, I already have the dashboard section. So we're going to do, like, say, because remember we used to separate all this section, in this case the user, the button edit, and the pagination, things like that. Because now you can see, if I click to the next, it's go to the next section, in this case next page, and there is no page reloading, things like that. And when you add a new, let's say test example 1 2 4 and save, as you can see, we already have here direct in this case. So I can come and say edited this. There we go. And well, I can element in this case. As you can see, the notification already working as expected. I'm going to show you in this case the implementation. Here we go. As a user updated successfully, in this case the notification. So I'm going to delete this information, and let's say cancel, but I'm going to delete now, continue, and here we go, the notification delete successfully. So there we go, we have everything working as expected. So the thing with this, in this case, what we do is that we implement just the notification section, and in previous video we complete the dashboard, in this case separating the CRUD section. So when we come to users, in this case in users, there we go, we have the create update dialog, which is a component. In this case, let me save this. Okay, now there we go. In this case we have a lot of information to remove all this. In this case, all this information, go home. It looks like all this information is going to go home too, and this going to go home. Alert dialog, go home. Dialog field input, go home. Label, go home. Table caption, go home. There we go. So now we have a much cleaner index in this case. As you can see, the index, the create and update dialog we have separated in this case. So we have create update dialog there. Here is the component which is responsible for updating. In this case, remember, we have always a Python file which you can review, and the delete, in this case delete the user. We got the UI version in this case, and in the index, in this case, we just have, let's say, the loading, the section where you're going to load the user. So it's very important that you understand how you're going to do your things at this case, because why I separate this section, let's say the create and the delete, because they have logic. In this case, not only logic, but they have a UI design. And if I do it in this section, the index is going to be huge. In this case, let's say maybe this is going to have more than 500 lines of code, because it's going to integrate the validation, things like that, all those stuff there. So we separate responsible, which is good. Okay, next thing, the issue with when we was, let's say, create update, in this case, in previous video we used to have this validation issue. I told you before that this was, let's say, when you are sending the information. So when you want to update the um, the user, well, the validation was failing. But now we have fixed that information in this case. So the validate user ID, we already have fixed that information. So what we're going to do is that we're going to fix this. As you can see, the if ID in this case. So we're going to validate user ID. We're going to use in this case this. Yes, use that. Now, as you can see, I'm going to use this information, because this information was not working as expected in this case in here too. So validated user ID, the same idea in this case. This same idea goes here, and we're going to put if you can't raise error, validation error. So we're going to import in this case the validator from this section. Okay, so that was the issue in this case. So what we're going to do is that maybe we can't return in this case, maybe return success files, error, invalid user ID. So what we're going to do, that let's test now. Let's say test validation, test. Okay, 1 2 3. We save. We have, as you can see, we created it correctly. Let's refresh. Now we have the validation up here, and let's edit. Now we have edited, and let's delete in this case. Delete, and everything works. It's working as expected. No, so as you can see, the validate issue when you have CUID, it's get fixed in this case, so you can use with confidence in this case. Okay, so in this case, well, we're going to save this because we're going to update the dashboard with the latest version. So let's cancel in this case. So Caspian update project. Yes, I want to update. Okay, and TypeScript no, MCP no, and there we go. So here we're going to start updating the dashboard starter kit, which is going to help you to build more fast, in this case, understanding the code and things like that. So there we go. Okay. Oh my. Okay. Okay, let's see. Yes, now have some issue because the package aren't installed. Now, yeah, it's going to start installing. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, let's see what about. There we go. Now we have complete success. Okay, now it's a false, false, true. What I'm going to do. So now clearly we can come and we can say, oh yeah, you know what? I don't want you to, let's say, update my authentication configuration, because this is the good part of when you have complete separation of these things. So SRC in library, in this case authentication, and don't touch this file because I know that I have update or I have my own configurations and I understand it how I'm going to proceed with. So there we go, and let's give the last test in this case. Before the last test, let's say npx python generate, in this case the ORM. Let's see if there are any changes. Man, enough, but we are good to go. So npm on left. Okay, there we go. Let's go to dashboard because I think the session is still active. This is the last test. Email.com 123. Okay, there we go. We have some error to fix. Let's see what's up. Okay, npm on dev. Okay, let's refresh. Then last Gmail 123. I see some error going on. Okay, internal server error. Let me see. Oh, this is going to be, yes, let's see. Let's say unique constraint user email. Okay, I think some issue is going on here because it need to be fixed in this case because I don't find reason where. Okay, anyway, I think we're going to stop. In this case, the Caspian dashboard, the framework need to be fixed in this case because I was making some changes, which look like some issues in the core, in this case, in the core section where it's handling the RPC, which it's awaiting, but it's passing data. Okay, so on. So there we go. We found some issue here. Okay, so this is the reason where I'm talking about when you are working with framework. You need to know that not everything is going to come as expected, everything, even if you are maybe having the let's say reviewing anything, each part of the section, but sometimes, as you can see in this case, the dashboard is having some issue with the installation in this case, or maybe something is going on. Okay, anyway, in this case, let's say network. Yeah, this is working as expected. Okay, here we go. CUID working. Okay, so we're going to leave here, but in this case, the next one is that which you're going to know is that the installation of the new, in this case, new Caspian framework. I think I'm going to review the issue with the dashboard, and afterward, maybe tomorrow, I take a video about this issue and explain where it was, because as you can see, it's in the package which having the issue. So this was Caspian updates in beta version 1 in this case. So I'm going to update any of the documentation which need to be updated and so on. Okay, if there are any question, well, maybe I can answer it, or if you have any doubts, just let me know. Anyone? Okay. So, well, how there is no question, which I'm going to start figuring what about this. So let's how we name advance in next topic. So well, thanks to joining, and see you in the next video. So I'm going to start fixing some issues with Caspian framework, and see you later.